All right. Welcome to the Viking Age podcast. I'm your host, Adam Patrick. I'm the lead editor, or the lead writer and the editor of thevikingage.com. As always, I'm joined by Chris Schad, who writes for us here at the Viking Age, as well as Bring Me the News and Zone Coverage. Before we get started today, make sure to subscribe if you're watching on YouTube to our channel and like this video, and then follow the Viking Age on Twitter and Facebook. All right. Before we get started today, I just wanted to offer a quick update on Bill's safety, Damar Hamlin. I'm sorry. Um, so obviously, most of us know what happened on Monday. He went down with a serious injury and was taken to the hospital immediately during the middle of the Bills and Bengals game on Monday night. Earlier today, which is a Thursday, the Bills released a statement about Hamlin, who remains in critical condition at the University of Cincinnati Medical Center. In the statement, the Bills shared that Hamlin has shown, quote, remarkable improvement over the past 24 hours. He has demonstrated that he appears to be neurologically intact and that his lungs continue to heal. Also, Hamlin's agent, Ronald Butler, revealed on Thursday today that Hamlin has been awake and he's been able to grip the hands of family members at his hospital bedside. This, according to John Warrow of the Associated Press. So it sounds like Hamlin is certainly trending in the right direction, which is great news considering the scary situation that a lot of people witnessed during Monday night's game between the Bills and Bengals. Chris, I just want to know, like, where did you watch this live, or did you find out about this, like, as things started to pop up online?
I was at the register office.
Okay.
So I was putting together the paper and writing something. I get easily distracted when I'm writing.
Yeah.
So I
Same.
didn't
Same.
have it on. But my co-editor had it on his screen and I heard somebody was hurt. And then all of a sudden I heard Joe Buck say CPR and I
Right.
went, huh?
Yeah.
And at that point, I had it on my computer at the office, and it was just really hard to kind of concentrate on the paper at that point because it's like,
Right.
is that dude okay? What's
Yeah.
going on? It's just an unprecedented situation for our generation, I should say. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe in the 70s there was a player for the Lions that died on the field, but
Yep.
I'm just happy he's okay.
Yeah.
Monday was a rough night. I feel like sometimes Twitter and all social media can kind of be a detriment in a situation like that because
Yeah.
we don't know all the facts and
Right.
everyone becomes a doctor. Then you
Yeah.
have people like Skip Bayless going, well, what's this going to mean for the schedule? And Shannon
Yeah.
Sharp's like, bleep you, dude.
Yeah.
It's a really unfortunate situation. Hopefully Damar's okay.
Yeah.
And it sounds like he's improving. And hopefully, maybe next year, he can walk out on the field, wave, be like, hey, I'm okay, everybody. And, I think that was the number one concern was that, we had just watched somebody die on national television. And, it's good to see he's okay.
Yeah. I think a lot of decisions were made. Right decisions were made as far as stopping the game, not playing it. I don't think they're not playing it again. I think the reports said they're just going to go on like winning percentage to figure out playoff stuff. But the best news is that he seems to be heading in the right direction, and whether he plays football again, I don't think is real important. Just he's able to have like a good quality life again. I think is the most important thing.
Well, it was
Right now.
just throwing this out there. It was kind of wild too, that report that they were going to play in like 5 minutes. And then I just remember them showing a picture of Josh Allen, and I'm like, that dude is not going to play football. Like,
Diggs
I mean,
too.
Joe Burrow picked up a football. I was like, all right, let's do this. Yeah, we got him off but and I'm sure he was shaken up, but he's just like, it's my job. But
Yeah,
it was just a wild situation.
Yeah, they're used to seeing guys go down, but this wasn't normal. This wasn't.
Mm-hmm.
You don't see guys getting CPR on the field. You don't see him, using the AED machine or whatever to
Defibrillator.
get him back going. Yeah, you don't see that really hardly ever on the field. So it was scary, but it seems like everything's heading in the right direction, and hopefully he ends up being okay. And he's got a lot of money donated to his charity now, so it's
Yeah.
awesome to see. He'll be able to see that when he gets to be fully functioning, hopefully again, and get excited about that. All right, moving on to the Vikings. They had injuries of their own, nowhere to the extent of Deron Hamlin. But Brian O'Neill, done for the season. Achilles injury. During the middle of the Vikings' disappointing Week 17 loss to the Packers, Vikings right tackle Brian O'Neill had to leave the game early for what was first suspected to be a calf injury. But then on Wednesday, it was revealed that O'Neill suffered a partially torn Achilles that will require surgery. O'Neill is obviously out for the rest of the 2022 season. And it's fair to say that his availability for the start of the 2023 season is somewhat in jeopardy now, too. So, sticking to this season, what does this injury do you think, to the Vikings' playoff chances?
Um, it's such a weird season. So looking at the injury as in a vacuum, this is bad for the offensive line, obviously. Now you have Oli Udo at right tackle, which that's his natural position. So I
Mhm.
mean, we can look back last year and go, oh my God, he was so bad. Well, he was playing guard at the last minute because Drew Samia was that bad. Or I mean, excuse me, Wyatt Davis. I'm really dating myself there, but they all just kind of blend together. Drew Samia, Brian Dozier, Wyatt
Dakota
Davis.
Dozier, you mean?
Who did I call him?
Brian Dozier.
Brian Dozier. Got baseball on the brain,
Yeah.
ready for that 90 loss season coming up from the Twins. Um, yeah, it just there's you know, it's obviously a concern for pass protection because I had Eric Thompson on the Homer Horn
Yep.
podcast last night, which will drop tomorrow. And he was talking about during that Giants game, Kayvon Thibodeau lined up, I think it was like 40 out of 60 snaps on the right side or on the left side of the offensive line going up against Brian O'Neill, and he had
Mhm.
one pressure.
Mhm.
Oli Udo is not going to
Mhm.
hold Kayvon Thibodeau to one
Mm.
pressure. And you also have the fact that Kirk Cousins has been hit more than any quarterback in the last 20 years, which
Yeah.
is also a concern. I'm very concerned about the running game. And especially from what we
Yeah.
saw against the Packers, there was a play early in the game where the Vikings ran play action and they handed it off to Dalvin Cook. And instead of biting up on the run, everybody dropped back.
Mhm.
And like they do not care about Dalvin Cook.
No.
They basically looking at Dalvin Cook right now, they say he's probably going to run for 3 yards. If he hits us for 70 on one play, it's one play. We can make it up. Like that is what teams are starting to do. And now losing another run grader like Brian O'Neill and replacing him with Udo, like the interior of the offensive line is already banged up because Garrett Bradbury seems nowhere close to coming back.
Yeah.
Christian Darrisaw is a run grader. Ezra Cleveland's hit or miss, and you have Ed Ingram. Like that running game is a big concern, and you're going to need it to win some of those playoff games. So it does ding them for playoff chances, but I also feel like this team, it's like a slot machine right now. Like you're either going to win the jackpot or you're going to get thrown out of the damn casino. Like one of two things are going to happen and nothing in between. And whoever the Vikings play, I mean, Steve Palazzolo had a tweet, which I actually sent to my dad earlier in the morning. I
Mhm.
said the same thing. I
Mhm.
said, the Vikings are either going to beat the Packers or they're by a field goal or something, or they're going to lose by 40 points.
Mhm.
And they didn't lose by 40 because of some garbage time scores,
Mhm.
but that's this team. Like you don't know what's going to happen. And if they get blown out by 40, oh well, it's back to the drawing board. So
Mhm.
I don't know. At this point, it's house money. I don't know what to think about this team. I'm just kind of going with the flow.
Yeah, it's weird because they're probably gonna have 13 wins, and everyone's like, I don't know. They're gonna have like the second most or tied for the most wins in the league,
Yeah.
and people are gonna be like, eh, maybe no one's like they're not. I think they're like maybe seventh or eighth in like Super Bowl odds. Like they're
Like
not
think
that.
about think about the last time the Vikings had 13 wins in 2017. Like
Yeah,
everybody was like, we're going to the Super Bowl.
yeah.
Like the path is there. And you look at the NFC right now, you could argue it's just as wide open as
Yeah.
it was that year because
Yeah.
Jalen Hurts is banged up. Josh Sweat is hurt for the Eagles.
Right.
The second seed, now the 49ers, Kyle Shanahan. We all know what I think about him. Plus, you have Brock Purdy, who was a seventh
Yeah.
round pick. Congratulations. You're beating a cryptic Tom Brady team. You're beating up on all these other bad teams. Now you're in the playoffs. Have fun with that Packers defense that seems to be feeling itself right now.
They almost just lost to
The
the
Raiders.
Raiders. So,
Yeah. With Jared Stidham at quarterback.
Yeah,
But
he
offensive
threw all
genius Kyle Shanahan. They did put up 30 points, I guess, so I can't really
Yeah.
use that.
I will say, well, the Raiders defense is terrible. So
Yeah.
like the next to the Vikings are probably one of the worst in the league. I will say that Ali Udo, in replacement of Brian O'Neill last week, did pretty well in pass protection. He only gave up one pressure. So that's a positive sign moving forward. Christian Darrisaw actually gave up 4 pressures, and Ezra Cleveland gave up 4 as well. So that left side did actually worse than the right side, which was Ed Ingram and Ali Udo. And I think Chris Reed only gave up 1 pressure as well. Chris Reed has had plenty of other problems though.
But he didn't know the snap count.
He didn't snap the ball
at all. Yeah.
So that was its own problem. But yeah, I think offensive line's hard because I don't think you really realize their impact until one of them's gone. Like when Christian Darrisaw was gone, that was very noticeable in terms of the run game and pass protection. But I don't know. I don't feel too worried. I think I'm more concerned about the start of next season right now than I am about the playoffs. Because what do? Do you go sign a free agent, maybe a veteran free agent, to just in case, or do you draft a tackle within the first couple rounds just to be safe for the right tackle, or do you have faith in? I think Ali Udo is actually a free agent, so I don't know if he would even be back. But they do, and then they have Blake Brandel, I guess, who's close to returning. I think Kevin O'Connell said he's probably coming back for the playoffs. But yeah, what do you think they should do for the summer just to be safe? Should they add someone in free agency or use an early round draft pick on a tackle? What do you think they should do?
So I think that using like a first round pick on an offensive tackle is a bit of a reach.
Don't do
Like
that.
I don't think they should do that. I don't even think they should use a day 2 pick. I was wondering about Phil Lodeholt because he was a player that suffered a full Achilles tear.
Yeah.
And his last season was 2014 at age 28, where he played 11 games for the Vikings. So I can't remember what year that tear was. I'm trying to remember. I might have been 2015. I would think it would have.
I think it was 2016 because I think they signed like Andre Smith or something. And that was the year where they used all those different offensive linemen, like was it Jake Long and a bunch of those guys.
So it was 2015. Lodeholt came back for camp in 2016 and retired before the start of the season.
Right, because he was like, "Nah, can't do this."
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah.
Achilles. That was age 28. That's the point that I'm making. Brian O'Neill is 27 years old. He'll be 28 shortly after the season starts next year.
Yeah. You can return from an Achilles. There's been success. I remember Charles Suggs, he tore it in like the basketball game or whatever, and he came back. And Richard Sherman, he had an Achilles injury and he came back and had a couple good seasons. But it'll affect him. But I think maybe with Brian O'Neill, because he's not moving around, he's not running.
It's not
really
like a running back.
Right.
Yeah.
Maybe in plays where he has to run on the field, it'll affect him more. But he's mostly in place in the same areas. It might affect like his strength in some sort of way because he gets some leverage from his legs and those muscles. But I don't know. It's tough to determine with that position group. But yeah, what do you think they should bring someone in? Maybe free agent.
I would do that. I would get yourself a security blanket.
Yeah,
a guy that isn't going to expect to start, but is quality depth in case O'Neill either loses a step, his recovery takes a little bit longer, and they'll know that. They'll know that by March. I mean, how he's progressing and everything. Right. I think it's something you would look into. Like, one of those guys you sign, and if like he's not going to start, you just cut him at the end of camp. Like that's the kind of guy. And
Yeah.
even too, it wouldn't hurt to take a swing at a lineman in the later rounds of the draft. Maybe there's a guy you like, and you say, okay, let's see if this guy,
Yeah.
Worst case scenario, he's a good developmental tackle.
Yeah. Yeah, like a
And there's
Jesse
nothing to
Davis
lose there.
kinda like a Jesse
Yeah,
Davis. Like, they signed him
absolutely.
over
Yep.
the off season. They worked him at some guard, some tackle, or whatever. Didn't really work out, so did they trade him?
Yeah,
Didn't
they
they
got they
trade him
got
to the
like a
Steelers or
6th-round
something?
pick or something.
That was weird. I just
Yeah.
remembered that. Yeah, so someone like that, a one-year deal, nothing too crazy because O'Neal's on a longer contract too. He just signed an extension like a year ago.
They put
So,
void money on Jesse Davis's contract too.
yeah. Yeah,
Like there's money, I think, on next year's cap for Jesse
yeah. Not a
Davis. We
lot, but
never
yeah.
played it down,
They
which
needed
is
they needed to figure out a way to get as much money as possible, I guess.
right.
So yeah, I agree with you. I think they should just find a veteran who's somewhat reliable. I don't really know who's going to be available next year, and guys can always get cut too. So there's always going to be more people available than there are expected to be right now. But yeah, sucks for Brian O'Neill because it happened on a pick six. Just out of the blue, he was trying to
Yeah.
chase it down. It was non-contact. But if you watch like the all 22, I think Luke Braun posted it where the clip of him, he just goes down, just snapped pretty much. And yeah, that was we didn't have a podcast on Monday. One, it was the holiday, observed holiday or whatever. And there wasn't a whole lot to talk about because the Vikings got killed by the Packers. So
And it doesn't matter. Like
it also
it
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. Like, you know what? Good to the Packers. Like you put it, they won their Super Bowl, right?
They still
Like
got to
that's
win.
what they
Still got
always
to win
that's
on
what they
Sunday.
tell. Yeah. They got to win. Jair Alexander, he had the big hat and he had a safety over each shoulder
That
as
was
he
so
declared
funny
himself the greatest
when he was trying to be so serious and be like, Shannon and Skip better not talk about me, and he's got this giant.
wasn't it? Like, can we talk about the gritty too? Because like that was the one thing
That
I
was
wanted to talk
taunting.
about.
That was taunting.
It should have been taunting, and I mean that's. But here's the thing: if my big thing is like defensive players and offensive players have two different sets of rules when it comes to taunting.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
offensive players, they say like, "Yeah, what's up, bitch?" Like they get a flag.
Yeah,
Like defensive players, they can go bowling with each other like the
yeah,
Vikings
yeah,
did this
yeah, yeah,
week.
yeah, yeah,
They can have group celebrations. They can gritty for 10 minutes while the
yeah,
game's being stopped.
yeah,
Like they can do whatever like people jump into the Salvation Army bucket and they get fined a shitload of money too. Like it's just like, can we just have one set of rules
yeah,
on what taunting is? Because at this point, and I think it's good. Like I like the fact that Jair did that because it's fun. It
yeah,
makes the game
yeah.
fun.
It's a
And
game.
even though in the back of my mind, I'm like, you asshole. But like,
If we like the Packers, we would have been like, oh, that's hilarious.
oh, they loved it. I mean,
Yeah,
it was their Super Bowl. Like,
yeah.
Jair Alexander was doing the gritty. Like the Vikings were getting stopped. Aaron Rodgers and his girlfriend, Madame Planet, tried to summon Satan at the 50-yard line. Like it was a great day for Green Bay fans. I'm sure it was.
Hey man, speaking of Aaron Rodgers, there's some pictures afterwards of him and Adam Thielen just kind of giggling and laughing it up. So
Adam Thielen, Green
uh,
Bay Packer in 2023.
I don't know if he would do that. He would be like the ultimate. That's like Hulk Hogan going heel, man. Like that's
Appleton, instead of like Hollywood Hogan, it's just Appleton, Adam Thielen.
yeah. I
Let me
don't
tell
know.
you something, brother. You pieces of trash in Minnesota never appreciated me. I heard Chris Schad on the Viking Age podcast. Just rips off the shirt.
Yeah, that would be an ultimate
Got one
heel
Appleton
turn.
requirement down too, but I'm not going to
What?
talk about that.
What? What? Okay. All right. Let's move on to some possible playoff opponents for the Vikings. There's only 1 week left of the season, but we still don't know definitively who the Vikings are playing in the playoffs this year. Right now, the Vikings are the number 3 seed after they lost last week, and the 49ers won, so the 49ers jumped up to the 2 seed. And right now, if the season ended today, the Vikings would be hosting the Giants for a rematch inside U.S. Bank Stadium. However, the Vikings could also face in the first round. So either they can play the Giants, Seahawks, Lions, or Packers right now. I don't believe there's any other team that can get in based on how things go on Sunday, which is also kind of weird with the way that the NFL set it up because the Sunday night game is the Packers and Lions, and that game could not even matter for the Lions if the Seahawks win in the afternoon game. So great job by the NFL doing that. Even though Dan Campbell said like we're gonna be spoiler if we have to, so I like that. But I don't know how his players will feel if they'll feel the same way. But which team would you like the Vikings to face in the first round of the playoffs this year?
Before I answer that, I got another tangent because the NFL got rid of a preseason game to add another regular season game because it's another game with stakes on the line, right?
Yeah.
Across the league, name one game that you're excited for this weekend.
Uh,
Titans, Jaguars, maybe. Like
I'm not excited for that. Like
I would watch Derrick Henry run the ball 40 times. No, like I
I am a little curious about the Rams and Seahawks because I think the Rams are playing pretty well right now, and I think Baker's got something to prove, so he's not gonna lay down. And the Seahawks don't really have a good defense, so if the Rams beat the Seahawks, the Lions are gonna be pumped
oh yeah.
to go in the Lambeau, and the Lions have won the last two against the Packers, so they're not scared of anything.
So there is one game that you are excited about this weekend.
And the Vikings,
Potentially.
always the Vikings game, obviously.
I don't even care about the Vikings game, to be honest with you.
But I think a lot of these
it's a
games.
Preseason. This is a preseason game. They basically delayed the last preseason game to throw it at the end of the year. Like
the AFC has bigger stakes than the NFC. Like they still have like two spots. Like there's the Dolphins game, the Patriots, the Steelers. Like there's a lot more going on in the AFC than the NFC. So I think if you ask people in the AFC, there's a lot to watch. But as far as the NFC goes, yeah, no, like there's not.
Like, sometimes you just have years like this
where
it's just like,
are the Eagles going to lose to the Giants who aren't going to play anybody? Like, is Sam Howell going to beat the Cowboys? Like, I don't think so.
Nathan Peterman going to beat the Vikings? Like,
I don't even want to think about that.
David Blau. David Blau could be the ultimate Vikings hero.
He could be the Josh McCown, the 2004 Josh McCown.
He not only helped TJ Hawkinson learn in the playbook, he could go help the Vikings get the 2 seed.
That's got to be Cliff Kingsbury's last game, right?
Yeah. He's done. Yeah. Like, I don't know. That whole franchise, like 2023 is just going to be like a Madden franchise for them where they're just going to get rid of like JJ Watt retiring. They're probably thanking him. Like, just like, hey, thanks, dude. We got like 19 million off the books now because you decided to retire and eat Subway and lift until you die or something.
Yeah, I'm sure they'll try to trade like DeAndre Hopkins and stuff.
Yeah. For like a Ford. Playoff opponents though. Let's rank them. Like I will rank them. Like teams I don't want to see. Number 4, the team I do not want to see is the Lions because Dan Campbell has just had his way with this team. Mm-hmm. It took a last-second drive and a long-ass field goal to beat him the first time around. Yep. They lost in Detroit second time. This year, the Lions had 2 different 14-point leads in US Bank Stadium until Dan Campbell had a brain fart and gave the Vikings that game. Yep. And then the last game, like, yeah, I mean, they're throwing alignment and stuff, and they're punking the Vikings, and Dan Campbell's like, oh, dude, is that the wave? Yeah. Why are you throwing to the tackle? What the hell's going on, man? It reminds me of, I think this time last year, Mike Zimmer was talking about Clint Kubiak and the headsets. He's like, yeah, sometimes he doesn't hear me. And like, we're hitting the button at the same time. I'm like, dude, Clint's probably hitting the button so he doesn't have to hear you talk. Just like, what's that, Zim? I don't. So Lions, number 1. Mm-hmm. The second team I don't want to see is the Packers right now because they have all the confidence in the world. That game would be played at US Bank Stadium. If I saw the Packers, I would want it to be in the NFC Championship game because like it's an easy scenario to think out. because if the Packers beat the 49ers, they would get the 1 seed. They would play Philadelphia in Philadelphia. If they're able to beat the Eagles, you get them at home where you beat them by more than 1 score.
Yep. And they're
And
gonna
I
be pretty
know they would
spent.
be, what's that?
They're gonna be pretty spent from those two opponents. Those are not just easy opponents. Those are gonna be physical games.
Absolutely. And I don't think this is like the 2010 team that ran the table and had prime time. I mean, that team had Charles Woodson, Hall of
Right.
Famer, Clay Matthews, probably a Hall of Famer,
Yep.
Jordy Nelson, Hall of very good, probably Packers Hall of
Greg
Famer,
Jennings.
Greg Jennings, peak Aaron Rodgers.
Mhm.
Like that team was a Super Bowl caliber team.
Mhm.
I don't think that's a Super Bowl caliber team. And I'm not just
Mm-mm.
saying that through purple glasses. The teams, I wouldn't mind seeing the Seahawks. That's probably the number 1 team that I would like to see just because they haven't been playing well in the past month and getting them here would be an advantage. Then there's the Giants who, again, that's that. I mean, any of these opponents, you just pull the lever and see what happens. But I mean, letting Daniel Jones throw for over 300 yards
To
and
who?
giving,
To who?
yeah, I mean, Richie James, is that his name? Like he's got the Robbie
Yeah.
Anderson house
He did,
party type
he did the flip.
haircut.
Yeah, he did the flip last week.
Yeah, like they shouldn't scare me, but they do. Like Saquon
Yep.
Barkley, 1 big run at the end of the
Yep.
game. Why did that happen?
Yep.
Like any of these teams scare me. I guess if I were to see one team, I would see the Seahawks.
Yeah.
Looking at the outline, I kind of answered your second question. So, how would you rank them? I guess. Since I've been
Yeah,
talking for
I
5 minutes.
would. I'd probably. You know what? I hate to admit it, but I'd probably put the Packers before the Lions, just because I think the Packers. Yeah, they do have all the confidence in the world. They just creamed the Vikings, so why are they gonna think they can't do it again? The Lions, on the other hand, they've been all the games against the Vikings have been closer. Like even the one where they just beat them, that wasn't really decided until that Penei Sewell play went down. Um, and I'd put the Seahawks second, and I'd put the Giants first, just because the Vikings beat them. So you can beat them already, and then at the same time, the Giants feel like they lost by a last second field goal. They should have all the confidence in the world they can go in there and win again. So I mean, playoffs are gonna be tough. Anyways, all these teams, playoffs are a different animal. Like even some of the best players, Rodgers, Mahomes, Josh Allen, like it's just any given Sunday, every team's 0-0, 0-0. Like nothing matters in the regular season. It's a clean slate. It's you look at the Titans a few years ago who were in the wild card. They're like 8-8 or 9-7. Went to the AFC Championship. Like anything can happen. So I think you got to approach it by trying to beat the team that you already beat, and that would be the Giants, which was what 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah. I think
uh,
the I
yeah,
think the NFC is just like beating the hell out of each other in this
yeah,
playoffs. Like
yeah, and
I
like when
it's not
Jalen
going to
Hurts
be
comes
1
back,
and 2 just breeze
yeah,
to the NFC. No, it's going to be a war.
yeah, like the Niners. I know they've been winning with Brock Purdy, but some like you'd go against a Cowboys team with a smart defensive coordinator like Dan Quinn, or even the Eagles, whose defense has been good. Although they did just beat the Eagles, right? Yeah, they did in Dallas though, when the game would be in Philly.
Yeah.
And I would guess that Jalen Hurts will be back by the playoffs, especially if they get a bye. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be like if this was a year where like the Giants or the Lions came in the NFC. I don't think anyone would be shocked, but it's not expected. But
Jonathan Vilma would have seen it coming like
it's
2
that
months
type of
ago.
year where like just crazy stuff happens. That's why I don't. No one's gonna be surprised if the Vikings, like you said, if they win the Super Bowl or they get blown out in the first round. Like it's just it's a weird year. But, all right, last question on this: the Vikings are the 3 seed now. They were the 2 seed for like forever this season until last week. But do you think that being the 3 seed actually could be more favorable for the Vikings than being the 2 seed entering the playoffs?
It depends if the 49ers lose in the first round. And I
Right.
think that is a logical outcome.
Hmm.
Let me pull up the 49ers schedule. Let's just see who they've beaten over this winning streak here.
They
Because
just
what are
beat the
they at now?
Raiders. They just beat the Raiders. They beat the Dolphins.
I'm going
They
back
beat the
here.
Bucks.
So, all right, let's see here. The Broncos, that was their the Falcons was their last loss. They lost in Atlanta on October 16th.
Like 14,
Oh,
right?
no. They lost to the Chiefs. So this is
Oh,
where
yeah.
the winning streak started. They beat the Rams on the road.
Woo!
Congratulations. They beat the Chargers at home.
All right.
Okay.
Okay.
They beat the Cardinals in Mexico.
No.
Colt McCoy started that game.
Ooh.
They beat the Saints at home 13-0. Offensive genius Kyle Shanahan falling out there. They beat the Dolphins at home, who look like a complete disaster right now. They beat the Buccaneers at home 35-7. Tom Brady, I don't know if he's going to like Undertaker in the playoffs or what,
Yeah.
but I mean, that
Yeah.
team is
That's another team
broken.
that could like make the Super Bowl and you'd be like, all right, I guess.
Yeah, Tom Brady just like, all right, I'm done screwing around. Let's go win this thing. They beat the Seahawks in Seattle. That's impressive, but I mean the Seahawks have been kind of falling off the wagon here. They beat the Commanders at home, and then they beat the Raiders in overtime. And now they'll probably beat David Blau's Cardinals on Sunday. So it's not like the 49ers have run through this murderer's row of elite teams that they're just smashing on the way. Like, they look good. That's how you would expect a Super Bowl contender to handle these bad teams. But again, until Kyle Shanahan doesn't do something absolutely stupid in the playoffs, I think it's within the realm of possibilities. And even the Packers could go into San Francisco and bounce them. Like, and if that happens, the Vikings, in all likelihood, they get a second home playoff game. And then I don't know, are the Packers just this team of destiny that's going to beat the Eagles who are banged up? Again, if that's the NFC Championship game, pull the lever. Let's see what happens. I mean,
even the Lions, they can do the same thing.
I guess I was going to say if the 6th seed, but that doesn't pan out. Let's say like the 5th seed, 5th seed knocks out, like the Cowboys knock out Philadelphia on the road, or the Bucks. That you get either of those teams at home.
Yep.
I'd play Dallas again. I don't care if it was 40-3. I just know that there's two. Spin it again. Pull the lever. That's my motto for the playoffs. Pull the damn lever and see what happens.
Yeah, I like the 3 seed better than the 2 seed. I do not want the Cardinals to win on Sunday. I think it's just the teams that are fighting to be the 7 seed I feel like they're more dangerous than the Giants, who are going to be the 6th seed right now. And then, like you said, if the 7th seed beats the Niners, then you get to play at home again, and you get to play the Cowboys or the Bucks, which, Cowboys did destroy the Vikings in US Bank. So, that happened. But I think the Vikings would like a second chance at that. And the Bucks are nothing to get excited about. And then, like if another team beats the Eagles, which wouldn't be shocking either, then you get another home game in the NFC Championship. So I like the 3 seed much better, and I hope that they actually end up as the 3 seed in there. I think it gives them a much better chance than going there in 2 seed. Because the 2 seed, then I'm like I feel like a first round upset is much higher as the 2 seed than it is the 3 seed. All right. So on Sunday, the Vikings will travel to Chicago. Usually the season ends in Minnesota against the Bears, but it's in Minnesota. So this year, it'll be in Chicago on Sunday. I'm sure the weather will be wonderful. Final game of the 2022 regular season. Thanks to Bears quarterback Justin Fields already being ruled out, the Vikings are 7.5-point favorites on the road. And the over-under is currently set at 43.5 points. First question, is there any reason for players like Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, or Daniil Hunter, or whoever to play in this game?
Checking the weather here, it's going to be 35 and sunny. So that's like a heat wave in Chicago for these days.
So the field will be concrete. Cool.
Yes, it'll have the same consistency. It's either shredded wheat in a glass of milk or concrete. There is no in between. the Vikings are probably going to play for the 2 seed just because
Yeah.
they play ahead. I mean, they'll look at it and go, hey, if we can host the 49ers, like that's to our advantage. They
Are
probably
they playing
don't
at the
see
same
it.
time? I
They
don't
do
think so.
not. So the Vikings play at noon, the 49ers play at 3 Central Time,
Okay.
3:25, I think to be exact. So
Yep.
um I mean, they shouldn't. They
No.
shouldn't. Like
There's no upside.
there's no reason here unless like you get the two. I mean, if you bench your players from the start, the only thing you risk is some bulletin board material. But I mean, in all likelihood, that probably just comes out anyway. So I mean, if Kevin O'Connell is as I mean, look at him the last couple days. He's mixed in players
Yeah.
like at the detriment of wins and losses. Like
Yeah.
Josh Metellus should never play safety again. He should just be a professional punt blocker, but
Well,
yet
yeah.
we're still mixing him in. And I don't know. And part of that might be the scheme. Maybe Ed should make some changes here, but
Maybe don't have Daniil Hunter and Zadarius Smith covering wide receivers.
defensive god Ed Donatel and his
Yeah.
book of defense.
I just think like the risk is too high in this game because one, if players get hurt like Justin Jefferson, Kirk Cousins, if they get hurt in week 18, then they're not only going to probably miss the playoffs. There's a good chance they can miss part of the start of the next season. So like this is not a good time to mess around. Justin Jefferson already got the franchise record for receiving yards. There's a highly unlikely chance he's going to get the NFL record. He needs like 200 yards. Um, don't don't do that for the record. Like that's not why. Like Jefferson even said, like I don't really care. I'm trying to win the Super Bowl. Maybe the let's isn't Kirk Cousins starting streak like then it gets snapped a couple years ago anyway, so that's not
Yeah,
really even like a factor either.
that's not a
Maybe
thing.
maybe they'll want to get Kirk Cousins in there to get some snaps with Chris Reed. If he has to keep playing center. But I don't know. I think this is a good opportunity for guys like Alexander Madison and Ty Chandler to kind of come out and Jalen Naylor to maybe show the Vikings a little something before the playoffs, like give them a little extra weapon maybe that they can carry into the playoffs and use. Give some guys like Brian Asamoah uh, some more reps to get in there. Patrick Jones. I think this is a good opportunity to just like let the young guys play and get some good reps because there's no there's one the Bears don't want to win. They're playing Nathan Peterman. They don't want to win. They
Yeah.
want to get the number one pick. They don't want to win. Um, so like they're gonna give you the game. Like let Nick Mullins go out there and play. We don't need to see any injuries. Like Christian Darrisaw doesn't need to play. Zadarius Smith doesn't need to play. Like this, there is. I think it's gonna be one of those games where like the Vikings have 30 inactive players. Um, so
Yeah.
I see no upside in playing any of the Jeffersons or Cousins or Dalvin Cook or any of those guys. So please do not play. And I know he's been like indicating like the starters are going to play, but like it's gamesmanship too. So you never know. But what would just in general? I know we asked like what do the Vikings need to do to win or lose, but like the chances of the Vikings losing this game are very low because I feel like the Bears are just going to like in wrestling terms, just lay down for the pin. They're just gonna be like, just win, please. Just beat us.
Finger poke of doom. Just
Um,
yeah.
so what would you just like to
Uh
see from the Vikings in this game? Like for one that doesn't mean a whole lot to the other team. Is
I
there
don't want to
anything?
see any you already mentioned I don't want to see anybody of value on the field. Like
Right.
I it just it does not I will be watching the North Dakota State South Dakota State
Yeah.
football game
That's
because
on
it
Sunday?
will be a better it is on Sunday. Yeah,
What?
very weird. I don't understand why they did it on Sunday, but that's
That
it.
is okay, okay.
Yeah. I mean, I will be watching that. I think it'll be a great game.
Yeah.
Um, a lot. So if you want to watch some football that actually matters on
Right.
Sunday, flip over to ABC.
All right. Oh, it's on
Um,
ABC.
yeah, it's a big
Oh.
network
All right,
audience,
all
but
right, all right.
most of the country will probably be watching the NFL because
Yeah.
gambling. I don't know. You can gamble on that game too, possibly. But
Yeah. Is gambling legal in South Dakota?
It is not. It is not.
Uh,
I think it is legal. Like you can have sports books and stuff, which is like a step ahead of Minnesota. But it is you can't do like FanDuel or DraftKings or anything like that. Which if you
oh,
legalize one, I don't
like on your
understand why you don't legalize
on your
the
phone.
other.
Oh, like
Yeah.
you can go to the casino and you can bet on
Yes.
whatever, but you can't do it on your phone. Yeah, that doesn't.
Correct.
For some reason, people are like, "Well, your kids can do it." I'm like, uh, "That's they can do a lot of things." So I don't think they're gonna be like, "Oh, I'm gonna bet on this
One
game."
way to teach your kid math. I financial responsibility. I don't know.
Yeah, yeah. And there's plenty of ways around betting too. Like they have underdog and the pick'ems or whatever. The what's it, points bet or something. Um, I just want to see the Vikings go out and dominate, like regardless of who's playing. Just go out. Don't allow Nathan Peterman to have the game of his life, get a bunch of turnovers, win by double digits. Just go out, take care of business, and get out of there injury free. Just don't mess around. We don't need a one score game with the Bears to end the season. Like just go out, make it easy, get out of there, and get ready for the playoffs because this should kind of be like a bye for a lot of players. Um, so just go out there and take care of business. Do you have a score prediction for this game?
13-3 Bears.
No.
13-3 Bears.
Oh man.
This is going to be a preseason game. And if you remember the Vikings preseason, now the Vikings got to upgrade at quarterback. Nick Mullins is better than Sean Mannion or Kellen Mond, so they might
Yep.
be able to move the offense a little bit. But I don't know. We've seen these backups play, and like, they just don't do much. So
I
I
will
don't know.
say I will
Yeah,
say the Vikings have won. They've been favored in 11 games this year. This will be the 12th game. They've won all 11 games. They've been favored in this year, and they've
I think it's like -8 though, isn't it? Because Kevin O'Connell's like, we're gonna play the starters, and
it's
like
seven and a
Vegas
half.
was
So
like,
it
bet the
is
Bears.
indicating that the Vikings are going to play some starters. That's what Vegas at least thinks. But I
Yeah,
do also think that Justin Fields not being out there and Nathan Peterman being
yeah,
out there is a pretty big difference because I think the line was like 3 or 4 a couple
yep.
days ago, and then it just jumped because they're like, Justin Fields isn't playing. He's got a scratch on his hip, so he can't get out there.
He's
Guess they're
got
just gonna have to lose.
tankitis.
Yeah, so
It's very
I think
serious condition this time of
I
year.
think the Vikings are gonna win 27-7. All right, they're just gonna put him away, get a couple, maybe get a. Well, it's Nathan Peterman, so I'm thinking they're gonna get a pick six. Maybe Jalen Rager will like go crazy and return a punt or something. But I think it'll be 27-7 Vikings. Please,
This is
just make it easy. Come on.
this is going to be the ultimate revenge game, though.
For
Like
who? Oh,
Armon Watts is still there. Duke Shelley will probably be playing a little bit.
I don't
He's a
know. Do
former
you play
Bears
him?
guy.
He's like the
He's the
10th best
starter now.
corner in the league.
Bubble wrap Duke Shelley is not something I predicted to be
Right.
saying back in
Give
August.
I mean, yeah, let Cam Dancer play. He's the backup
I
now.
wouldn't play Cam Dantzler. I mean he's technically the backup, but
Yeah.
Kyrus Tonga.
Yeah. He's been playing well too.
This is kind of a fun game. Like you just list a player, like should he play? Like Ed Ingram, should he play? Probably not. I mean,
He should, but he's a starter, so probably not. I think does KJ Osborne play? I don't think they have enough receivers for him not to play. They might activate
yeah,
like a bunch of people on Saturday, like for the
yeah.
practice squad. Yeah, I don't. That's tough. I think maybe guys will dress, but they won't play.
Can you just go full like veteran rest day and like just list them as out? Like, why
Yeah,
are they out? They're old.
yeah.
That's why they're Justin Jefferson is old. Yes, he's very old and
Like
very
I can see
tired.
Kirk Cousins. Like, do they even have a? They don't have. Oh, they have Josh Rosen. We could see.
Do it.
Could we see some Josh Rosen on Sunday? Oh
Get the
man.
hot tub ready, baby.
Oh
Let's get
man.
Josh Rosen in there.
I saw him. I
Oh,
think it was the Eric Kendricks mic'd up during the Giants game, and Kendricks was like high-fiving people, and he high-fived Josh Rosen, and then I was like, "Oh, yeah, Josh Rosen's on the team." Then I was like, "Oh, yeah, those 2 went to UCLA together." Like, they were, like, actual, like I think they were
Teammates.
teammates.
Yeah.
So maybe we'll see some Josh Rosen on Sunday. Oh, man.
Exciting. Just gets me jacked for a Sunday
See,
of
yeah, just like
Vikings
you said,
football.
so much exciting football this weekend, especially on the NFC side. Just
My
lots
my
to
5 bowl predictions might be largely sarcastic this week. I'm trying to figure it out, but
Yeah, you gotta do what you gotta do.
yeah.
That'll be it for today. If you're watching on YouTube, again, make sure to subscribe to the channel and like the video. Follow the Vikings on Twitter and Facebook, and the audio version of this podcast will be available by the morning on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, wherever you get your podcasts. But until next time, Chris and I will talk to you later.